ओम सदाशिवसमारंभां शंकराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां यदविद्याविलासेन भूतभौतिकसृष्टयः तं नौमि परमात्मानं सच्चिदानन्दविग्रहम्. So we covered the 6 pramanas and some in terms of understanding how error takes place, how different schools deal with it, and how we look at it as anirvachane khyati as far as adhyasa is concerned. Erroneous perception in the sense of adhyasa. All this we saw. Clear? Okay. How clear it is will depend only if you all make presentations. Okay. Yeah. So now we are starting the 7th chapter, because usually in a book on Vedanta, the subject matter of Vedanta is also presented. If you notice the pramana, the subject matter was not presented, only how it works, the pramana works was presented. So here he is dealing with the subject matter, okay, what Vedanta is about. Evam nirupitanam pramananam pramanyam dividam. The pramanyam of the 6 pramanas is twofold, he says. In what way twofold here? Vyavaharika tattva vedakatvam, paramarthikatva vedakatvam cheti. One dealing with vyavaharika knowledge, one dealing with paramarthika knowledge. Okay? What is applicable in vyavahara, what is with respect to paramartha, the absolute reality, functional and absolute. Okay. Tatra Brahma Swarupa Avagahi Pramana Vyatirektanam Sarva Pramananam Adyam Pramanyam. Other than Vedanta, the sentence, the words that deal with the absolute reality, paramarthika reality, Brahma Swarupam, everything else is dealing with the first one, that is Vyavaharika. So that means what? Your perception, etc. And the first portion of the Veda all deal with Vyavaharika Satyam. Even the first portion of the Veda that deals with other dimensions, etc., life after death, etc., all of them is within Vyavahara. Meaning it depends on what you do. You know something, you do something. It's all transactional realities. Okay? Even going to heaven, etc., is considered a transactional reality, a functional reality. Because based on your functions, your actions, your karma. Therefore, all of them is like that. Tad Vishyanam Vyavahara Dashayam Bhada Abhava. Why? Because in Vyavahara Dasha, in your transactional state, condition, there is no negation. I want to pick up the Vedanta Paribhasa book. Therefore, I look for it and I find, perception shows this is Vedanta Paribhasa. This is Vyavahara. And in Vyavahara, there is no problem. There is no contradiction. That this is a Vedanta Paribhasa book is not contradicted in Vyavahara. Therefore, Vyavahara Dashayam, all that, okay. Okay. Dvitiyam tu Jiva Brahma Aikya Paranam. The second one, that is Paramarthika Pramanam, is dealing with Jiva Brahma Aikyam. That is what? Sadeva Saumyedama Agram Asit. Hey Saumya, before all this, what was there was only one Sat, one reality. Okay? Ityadinam Tattvamasi Ityantam. Therefore, Saatma Tattvamasi Shvetaketo. Starting with Sadeva Saumya, he is giving an example and ending with this. Chandogya 6th chapter dialogue. Therefore he says, this is tad vishya jiva para aikyasya kalatraya abhaditatvad. This reality of Jiva Brahma Aikyam is not negated at any period of time. Vyavahara Dashayam, when you are in your transactional reality also, the fact you are Brahman is not negated. The only question is whether you know or you don't know. The question is only whether you know or you don't know. If you don't know, there is a pramana available. In fact, because people don't know, there is a pramana available for that. Therefore, kalatraya api abhadakatvat. Okay. Ityadina. Okay. Jiva para ekasya kalatraya abhaditvat. That's okay. In Vyavahara, are you using 5 pramanas?
Yeah, I am using, but I didn't know.
That's okay. If you don't know, that doesn't mean it isn't there. Yeah. That's the thing. Yeah. For years we lived without knowledge of gravity, the Western world especially. But that doesn't mean gravity didn't exist or gravity was not being used by them. Let us say everyone knows about gravity today. A child that is born, 1-year-old child, does not know about gravity, but is still using gravity to walk, to stand up. Without gravity, you can't walk. Yeah. So, Vyavahara Kalam, all pramanas are used. Pancha pramana is used by you. Either they will be used unconsciously, in a very crude manner, or consciously in a sophisticated manner, in a refined manner where you can use it properly. Logic is used, but logic can be also used in an unrefined manner. Let us say this character saw the eagle flying over the coconut tree and the coconut fell. He saw it 2 times and he made a vyapti. Whenever the eagle will fly over the coconut tree, the coconut will fall. Now, this is without checking up whether there is a bhada or not, whether there is upadhi or not. So, he is using logic but crudely. Yeah. Those who have attended Adhyasa Bhashya, Pashvadibhishcha Avisheshat. Even a Pashu uses logic. A cow, there's a statement there in the Adhyasa Bhashya saying Pashvadibhishcha Avishesha. There is a cow. The cow sees green grass, perception, hey, it is tasty, I've eaten it before. Then he looks around. There is no guy, human being standing around with a danda in his hand. Anupalabdhi pramana. Cow is using all this. Yeah. Logic, if I eat it, I'll become happy. Because whenever I eat great grass, I feel satisfied. Vyapti. Pashvadibhishya avishesha. We use. Yeah. The cow also uses the logic. So, Vyavahara Dashayam 5 pramanas you use. And in Vyavahara Dasha does not contradict Paramartha Vastu. The absolute reality is not contradicted. Yeah. Just because there is Vyavahara doesn't mean that you are not Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahman. That's very clear. Therefore, Tattvamasi, that's why we are not presenting self-realization or self-knowledge as an experiential thing. Because if it is experiential, one experience will negate the other experience. Yeah. I heard. I'm mentioning it so because I don't want you all to fall into a trap hearing these videos. I saw this video. People wonder why I look into the social media and YouTube and things like that. I saw this video. This lady is asking this Guru, Guruji, I want to know what Tattvamasi means. I don't believe in God, but what does Tattvamasi mean? Sa Atma Tattvamasi Shvetakela. And you know what he says? Were you born like this, in this condition? No, I was born as a baby. Therefore, what made this whole body? So God is creator, Brahman is creator. Aham Brahmasmi means Brahman is creator. You are also creator. Therefore, Aham Brahmasmi indicates this truth. He is a very popular guru, okay? One of the most popular gurus today. Pathetic. Why? Pramana abhava. But even when he is making that pathetic statement, the fact he is Brahman doesn't change. He doesn't understand what is Brahman, but it doesn't change the fact he is Brahman. In his mind, there is a lot of ignorance. In spite of his experience of whatever, sitting in Samadhi. In spite of sitting in Samadhi for so many days, the fact remains that ignorance is there because he doesn't know what Tattvamasi means. Because problem is once you become a teacher, you are asked all sorts of questions, you are expected to know everything. You have to be able to honestly say, I don't know that. Like today, coming to class, I got a call. Very strange call. Swamiji, I am looking for this migration to Australia, but there is no course shown for English for teachers. Do you know anything about it? I said, I don't know anything about it. How am I expected to know? I don't want to migrate to Australia anyway. I don't want to migrate anywhere. I am happy in India.
That is the trust they have.
But it is a wrong notion that I am supposed to know about everything. How am I supposed to know? Yeah. I mean, really, how am I expected to know this? But you have to be able to be honest enough to say, I don't know. And I am happy with my ignorance of that part. I don't have to know. If it is something I have to know, I will find out and I will know. Vyavahara dashayam, this is. So, no wise person or teacher is expected to know about everything in Vyavahara. But you are expected to know what Aham Brahmasmi is. If you don't know that, what type of a teacher you are being? You are being a teacher who is not teaching the reality. Therefore, you will become Asad Guru. Yeah. Therefore, be careful when you hear such videos, okay? Okay, na? Tad Vishay Jiva, okay, Kalatraya Abhadavat, okay. Tachekyam Tattvam Pradana Padartha Jnana Adhinam. Jnanam iti Prathamam Tat Padartha Lakshana Pramanabhyam Nirupayat. Now, to understand Tattvamasi, the knowledge of Tattvamasi, the sentence Tattvamasi, depends upon the knowledge of Tat and Tvam. Asi is very simple, is. You are that. So, you have to understand what you means and what that means. What is you? What is that? Therefore, in the beginning, we are going to start subject matter of Vedanta. Na? Therefore, we are going to start discussing what you are. Tvam padartham. Sorry, tat padartham vya lakshana pramanayam nirupyate. We are going to start with tat padartha. All right. Now, what is tat? Tad lakshanam dividam. When you say tat, the definition is twofold. What is that? Swarupa lakshanam, tatastha lakshanam cheti. We have seen all this. This is simpler. That's why I said from now on the class will become a bit simpler. Not simpler because you're more familiar with it, that's all. Therefore, he says Swarupa Lakshanam and Tatastha Lakshanam. In a nutshell, what is Swarupa Lakshanam? Tatastha Lakshanam, what is the difference? Nutshell.
Swarupa Lakshana is the nature of the thing.
Yeah, using the nature of the thing to define it. Yes. And Tatastham?
Indirect.
Indirect. Point, using something else to point it out. Okay. Okay. Like if you describe a house, where do you stay? Hey, this building like this, like this, like this, like this. Swarupa. You say Tatastha Lakshana will be, hey, look at that building where the car is parked, na? Red car is parked in front of it. Red car will not always be there. Today it was there when I am pointing it out. Yeah. So that is Tatastha. Swarupam is describing the building as it is. Okay, in a nutshell. Now we let us look at it a bit more. Tatra Swarupam eva Lakshanam Swarupa Lakshanam. The true nature of the thing is used as Lakshana. By the way, what is the definition of Lakshana? Yaad hai? Vyavartakam Lakshana. First important function is to differentiate. Itarebhyaha sarvebhyaha vyavartakam Lakshanam. That which identifies this as distinct from everything else is called Lakshana. Okay? Yeah. That is why Tatastha Lakshanam can work. Why? It helps you identify something distinct from everything else. The building, it helps you to identify that building separate from everything else. So, the English word definition and the Sanskrit word Lakshana is used slightly differently. Okay? Yeah. Swarupa Lakshanam, he said, no? Yatha Satyadikam Brahma Swarupa Lakshanam. Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma Anando Brahmaviti Vijanayat Vijanat Ityadi Shrute. Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma iti Anandam Brahmeti. All these are Swarupa Lakshanam for Brahman. Swarupa Lakshanam. And he said this much, Purvapakshaya. Okay, right. Nanu swasya swavrittitva abhave katam lakshanamiti ched. Now this is a Purvapaksha coming from Nyaya. He says, the gunas of a thing and the swarupa of a thing is different. Therefore, how can you use the swarupa as Lakshana? Okay, how can you use the swarupa as Lakshana? So he says, okay, na swasyeva swapakshaya dharmi dharma abhava kalpana laksha lakshana sambhavat. It is because when you hear Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahman, most people take it as dharmi dharma sambandha. That Satyam Jnanam Anantam is dharma of the dharmi called Brahman. We are making a kalpana. We are making a kalpana here. Okay? It is Swarupa Lakshanam, but there is a kalpana. What is Brahman? Satyam Jnanam Anantam. So what are we really doing? We are saying there is an entity called Brahman, and that Brahman is Satyam Jnanam Anantam. So for the first time you listen to it, what will you think?
Duality, no, Swamiji, they are trying to project a duality.
One second. Stick to what is here. Duality and all baat mein. You are taking that there is something called Brahman which has the quality Satyam Jnanam Anantam.
We are objectifying it.
In a way there is an attempt at objectification. That is why all that Bhagat, Tyaga, Lakshana, all that is used afterwards. That's why all the negation is done. So he says, with this Kalpana, you are using it to define. So, that is why I say, Vedanta is forming concepts and negating concepts. There is a concept here, no? When you first listen. What is Brahman? Satyam Jnanam Anantam. Then usko maar ke, you have to negate it. It is not quality, it is not it is not an existing object, it is not bliss, it is not so many things you have to keep saying. Because the kalpana is there when you first time you listen. Okay. Iti lakshya lakshana sambhava. Taduktam anando vishayanubhave nityatvam cha santi dharma aprataktepi chaitanyat pratag iva avabhasate iti. He says, Anando Vishya Anubhave. The Ananda that you get by Vishya Anubhavam, you experience something. Hot day, you had a nice sugarcane juice, let us say. Full of calories, whatever. But it is fructose, so not so bad. Maja aaya. Vishya Anubhave Anandam. Therefore what? He says, Nityatvam cha santi dharma. Therefore that ananda is actually becomes a dharma. No? I am experiencing happiness. I am happy. So when you are happy, you are taking it as a dharma actually. Though it is really speaking your Swarupa manifesting itself. Really speaking, it is your Swarupa manifesting itself. But what do you take it as? Experiential, therefore dharma. I am happy. Before that I was very thirsty and hot and bothered. Now I am happy. Maja aaya. That maja aaya. Okay. Santi dharma. Aprataktvepi chaitanya pratag iva avabhasante. Even though it is non-different from the chaitanyam that you are, that anandam, that experiential ananda, even though not different from the consciousness that you are, it appears as though different. It appears born from an experience. Are you all getting this? That is why ananda is used to imply what is Brahman. It's a Lakshana Vakya. Remember, all these words, Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam is Lakshana, not direct description. If it is direct description, it is Dharma. Therefore, the direct description is used to indicate the reality. That Bhagat, Tyaga, Lakshana, etc. will come into the picture. Okay? But it is used to indicate. I am seeing some doubtful faces. Okay, to those who have not heard me explaining Tattvamasi, etc., I would like you all to go onto my YouTube channel and listen to Tattvamasi Vichara. There are a few cassettes on it. I have elaborately explained that. Okay, different Mahavakyas I have taken to show that all Mahavakyas are one and the same. We have done it in the camp, Coimbatore camp. 2017, I think. Yeah, 2017. It is there on the YouTube channel. Okay. Some 6-7 cassettes are there. Okay. I had given it initially. I had given it exclusively to Indica because that time they were just building up their YouTube channel. So I said, okay, take it. Then now it is Indica has got a huge amount of it, so I put it back onto my channel also. Okay. Iti apratitve api chaitanya avabhasati iti. Now all this is the argument is for what? To establish Swarupa Lakshanam exists with respect to Brahman. Okay. That is the argument here. The whole argument is to show that. Okay. Then Tatastha Lakshanam Nama. What is Tatastha Lakshanam? Yavad Lakshakam Laksha Kalakam Anavasite api Yad Vyavartakam Tadeva. Yavat Lakshakalam Anavasthiti. Lakshakalam Anavasthiti? Can't figure. Some gadbad hai language. Okay. Yeah. Even though Lakshakalam Anavasthiti, in what is Lakshya, not Kalam is not that, in that sense. Whatever is there in the Lakshya, Anavasthiti, it is not part of what is being pointed out. Take it like this. It is not part of what is being pointed out. Like that building, remember? The car. The car is not part of the building, pointed out. But Yad Vyavartakam, but it helps to indicate that, it helps to point out that as distinct from everything else. So many buildings on the road. But that building which has got a red car parked in front is my building. Red car is not a part of the building, it is on the road. Only at that time it is there, exactly. Afterwards it won't be there. The guy is visiting somewhere, he is going to drive off after half an hour or whatever. So the next time you come, you are not going to look for a red car, are you? Next time you come, अरे रेड कार नहीं है, कौन सा बिल्डिंग है? कोई भी बिल्डिंग में रेड कार नहीं है, ये कैसा हो सकता है? You don't say that. Because you understood the building. It is with Tatastha Lakshanam that the famous statement is made, the finger that points to the moon is not the moon. Yavartakam yadeva yatha gandhavatvam prithvi lakshanam. What is the Lakshana for Prithvi? Gandhavatvam, smell. But he says, Mahapralaya, he is using the Nayayika logic. Mahapralaya, when the Mahapralaya takes on. Paramanushu, in the atomic condition. Utpatti Kale, Gatadishu, cha Gandha Bhava. In all these three states, there is no Gandha for Prithvi. That is the Nayayika logic. Therefore, Gandhavatvam also becomes Tatastha Lakshanam for Prithvi. Prakriti cha Jagat Janmadi Karanatvam. Prakriti, meaning with respect to Prakriti. Prakriti means what is under being discussion. Don't say Prakriti Maya, etc. No. What is Prakritam right now? What is under discussion? That is Brahman. With respect to that, Jagat, Utpatti Karanam, etc. will become the Lakshanam, Tatastha Lakshanam. Atra Jagat Padena Karya Jatam Vivikshitam. By the Jagat Pada, what are you indicating? All Karyam. Anything that has been manifested, created. Anything that has been created, manifested is called as Jagat. Okay, Karyamijatam. Karnatvam cha. And what is Karnam? Kartrutvam. Karna means what? Kartrutvam. Who has done it? Who has created it? Therefore, Avidya na ativyapti. Avidya is not the karta, no? Avidya is itself insentient. So the kartrutvam will go to Ishvara. Yeah. Kartrutvam cha tad upadana gochara aparoksha jnana chikisha krutitmatvam. Okay. Now what is kartrutvam? Okay. Okay. Tad upadana gochara jnana chikirsha. It should have jnanam first. Okay. When you say something is cause for something, there should be this thing, what you call knowledge. Okay. Then chikirsha, the desire to make it. Kritimatvam. Okay. Kritimatvam. The ability to do it or the intention to do it. Okay. And upadana gochara jnana, aparoksha jnana. Upadana gochara aparoksha jnana. Aparoksha jnanam, direct knowledge with respect to the upadana. Therefore, direct knowledge with respect to the upadana material. Jnanam is covered. Ichha to create and the will or the ability to create. Okay? Kritimatva. All this should be there. Now what? Ishvarasya tavad upadana gochara aproksha jnana sadbhave. Ishvara has all this. For this, what is the pramanam here? Yas sarvajnaha sarvayas yasya jnanamayam tapaha tasmadetad brahmanama rupanamas jayate ityadi shrutina. I think Mundaka this is. Mundaka only. Yeah, this is Mundaka. Yes. Yeah. Sa sarvajnaha. He is one who knows everything. Sarvavit and the details of everything as well. Yasya jnanamayam tapaha. Whose tapas, activity, is only jnanamayam. Only in the form of knowledge. Tasmad etad Brahma. From this Brahman alone, Nama Rupam, Annam cha jayate. Names and forms and experiences, every Annam standing for all experiences. Jayate. All this is born. Shruti Pramanam. The Shruti Pramanam quoted because what is the Pramanam for Ishvara? Not your logic. Your logic won't work with Ishvara. Why will your logic not work? थोड़ा revision करना अच्छा है.
It will have doshas, no? Man-made things will all have doshas, no?
No, that's not the reason. Huh? How can you say that logically you can't expect Ishvara?
So, Swamiji, Ishvara being the Jagat Karanam, he has to reveal himself.
Yes, but why?
Because, I mean, you are always trying to infer the cause from the effect.
From the effect. Therefore, Gatasya karta Gatagnaha, Patasya parta Patak. Therefore, Sarvasya karta Sarvajnaha.
Because there is no creation, Swamiji.
There is creation. Do you not experience the creation?
The field of logic is worldly.
You have to, for the logic, you are right there in that right lines. You have to establish that this Jagat is a creation. Look at it. Pot is a creation, is established. How do you know pot is a creation?
Because the potter soil.
Yeah, there is a creator.
You can have a situation where you can actually see the potter creating the pot. You can have the direct experience of it.
Directly or by inference or whatever, you know There was a time the pot was not there.
There is Pragabhava and
अभी याद आया सब, अभी याद आया सब. There is a Pragabhava, Pradhyumsabhava with respect to the pot. And that's one part of it. Another part is there is Pragabhava, Pradhyumsabhava with respect to a mango also. So who made the mango? Plus, you know, there is a potter with jnanam of the upadanam, ichha and kriya shakti. You know there is a guy there. You may not have seen for this particular pot, but you have seen it for some other pot. Correct or not? Therefore, you can establish the pot. So now prove this is a creation. Prove this is a creation. How will you prove this is a creation? Pragabhava, Pradhyumsabhava, kabhi dekha hai? How many creations have you seen? Therefore, logically you can't establish it. Therefore, pramana of the Shastra is necessary for Ishvara. ये fundamentals भूलना है क्या नहीं? Okay, remember the fundamentals. Yeah.
Sarvakartritvam we can't prove by logic.
By logic, yeah, sarvakartritvam you can't, exactly. Because for them, sarvam has, karyam has to be established. Plus, if you want to put it technically, okay? Etad gataha karyaha. Yatra yatra gataha tatra tatra karyatvam. Correct? Wherever there is gata, it is an effect. Yatha pataha, as an example. Pataha. Or another gataha. Now, sarvam karyam. Yatha, what example will you give? Because in sarvam you have included everything. If you have included everything in sarvam, what is an example? Example is included into sarvam, no? There is no vyapti. Technically, there will be no vyapti. Yatra yatra sarvatvam tatra tatra karyatvam. Is there a vyapti for it? So it's not logical. Therefore, Ishvara is not logically established. It is logically understood. All this can be used as supporting arguments to understand Ishvara. That's fine. But they are not proving logic. They are only logic to understand, to support. Therefore, ityadi shruti-matvam tadrisha chikirsha sadbhave. All right. What about desire to create, etc.? So akamayata bahusyam prajayeya. Let me manifest myself as many. There is a statement. Ishvara said, let me become many. That's to establish chikirsha, the desire to create. Therefore, you are establishing jnana ichha kriya in Ishvara. Tadrsha kritosa tan mano akurata ityadi vakyam. This is a statement from that Ishvara first manifested the mind, then other things step by step. So all these statements are used to indicate kartrutvam for Ishvara. In what type of kartrutvam? Bhada kartrutvam. Okay, that we have to see later. If I am not karta bhokta, how does Ishvara become karta bhokta? For that you have to establish mithyatvam of the whole thing. That is later. First now establishing kartrutvam. That Ishvara is karta, jagat karanam. Step by step he is going. That Ishvara is jagat karanam. And that becomes important. If Ishvara is not jagat karanam, Can you really use the word Tatvamasi? Yeah, you cannot use the word Tatvamasi. The Dvaitins will say, because Ishvara is Jagat Karanam, you can't use Tatvamasi. Why? Because they look at Ishvara as separate from the creation. If you are looking at Ishvara with all these qualities, but separate from the creation, you cannot say Tatvamasi because he is separate from you. How can you say Tatvamasi? Can you see that? You establish Jnana, Kriya, Ichha for Ishvara. But if he is separate from creation, then he is a guy sitting somewhere. Then to say Tatvamasi will be considered blasphemy. Sartan Sajuda. It will be considered blasphemy. Or you will have to give some example, some other explanation. You will become like Ishvara, that. Or Ishvara has created everything, you are a small creator, therefore Samanyam will become. Some similarity. That's what many Dvaitins also say. Therefore you contemplate on Tatvamasi, etc. Some of those divine qualities will come into you. So either you can put it that way or you can put it as blasphemy. Because Ishvara has taken separate from creation. Yeah. That's why Ananda becomes so important. Exactly. Yeah. That Anantatvam becomes so important. Yes. Limitlessness becomes important. Yeah. Are you all getting what I am trying to say? Okay, these are all nuances that come from here. Okay. At the same time, if you don't establish Kartrutvam for Ishvara, how are you going to talk about Ishvara as Jagat Karanam? Because then you will take Ishvara as only Upadana Karanam. If you take only Upadana Karanam, it will be some material evolving. That's what science is talking about. Some material evolving out of soul and accidentally creating an intelligent cosmos. Some material, then where did all the laws come from? The laws of physics, etc. Oh, that happened by itself. I told you the example they tried, na? Computer stimulation. Take all the words of the English language, all the alphabets in the English language. You jumble it in a bag, pick up a few. You'll create 2-3 words out of it. Keep repeating the process until you can create a book. They calculated they'll take many more billion years than the life of the universe. And even there, grammar, etc., had to be given by the person who was looking into it. Because the jumble of words is not going to give you grammar, is it? A jumble. Car, rat, this, like that you got a few words. How will you get the logical connection sentence? How will you make it a sentence? Unless there is an intelligent being putting it into a sentence. So even like this, to create one small book, you require an external factor to provide grammatical structure. Just one book. What about actual creation with the whole laws of physics, etc. coming into play? Physics, chemistry, biology, all that thing coming into play. Impossible. Okay. Impossible. So, if you take it only as Upadana Karanam, this is the problem. It can't evolve by itself. If you take it only as Nimitta Karanam, then other problems will come in, finitude, etc. Either way, Tattvamasi will not work. So for Tattvamasi to work, Abhinna Nimitta Upadana Karanam has to be taken. The single cause of both the material and the intelligence behind the creation is one. It has to be taken like that. There is no other way. That's what the Upanishad says. Where do you get the knowledge from? This is not logical development, okay? Yeah. All right.
Swamiji, this Abhinna Nimitta Upadana Karanam,
Hmm.
does it appear in some?
Yeah, Mundaka Upanishad comes now. Yatha urnana srajate grannate cha.
But the words are not used.
Ah, it's understood. That is a word supplied for it. Yeah. Ishvara is the creator, it says. How? Yatha urnana kriyate. So it's understood. The word we have used. Yeah. So,
Swamiji, as I understand, we take Jagat as Tatastha Lakshana, and to know that Ishvara is Abhinna Nimitta Upadana Karanam. So likewise, when I don't know the content of Sakshi, but I know that I am
for that you have to go to Tvam Padartha. We are still dealing only with Tat Padartha.
I'm just asking one question.
Yeah.
That can I also say that I'm using Sakshi as a Tatastha Lakshana to know Swarupa Lakshana?
You can. You can.
Like how I'm
Yeah,
so
you
that
can.
I don't know the content of the Sakshi
Correct.
and
Yeah. Sastya becomes Tatastha Lakshana. Correct. Yeah. That's fine. Yeah, but let's not jump ahead. Go step by step. Yeah. You're jumping ahead. Yeah.
so then so Kamayata is a Tatastha.
So Kameti is Ishvara.
So Tatastha Lakshana.
Yeah, yeah. To establish Kartrutvam.
So here we are establishing conscious being,
Yeah, a conscious being.
correct, and Upadana.
Upadanam. Yeah. There is Upadanam, and there is a conscious being using the Upadanam. Otherwise, where is Karta Bhakta? That's how, by putting both the sentences together, you are creating Abhinna Nimitta Upadana Karanam. Therefore, sentences like so, Kamayata, etc. are important. You can't tend to sort of be slack about it.
Swamiji, can you just repeat that? I didn't catch you.
That so Kamayata, that sentence, becomes important because you have to establish the conscious principle behind it, no? In the creation. The consciousness behind the creation has to be established. The conscious, not principle, conscious entity. Conscious entity has to be established. Yeah.
I would digress a little.
Yeah, yeah.
But Purva Pakshi will take it as how did the conscious being desire being everything? How did the
Because he is also the Upadana. Then the answer will come, he is also the Upadana.
He is everything.
Yeah. So that Ishvara becomes very necessary because if there is no Jagat Karanatvam, there is no Tattvamasi. Yeah. That's why I suggested this as Swamini's thesis. You know, the necessity for Ishvara in the teaching of Vedanta. Yeah. Because very, very necessary. Yeah. Because without Upadana Karanam, how are you going to do it? Without Ishvara as a conscious entity, you cannot establish Tattvamasi. That is why there are certain teachers like Muji, etc., internationally known teachers, who teach without bringing Ishvara into the picture. They'll only come to the fact you are Sakshi, witness, etc. That witness, Sakshi, everything is a difficult step to take. They can't take that step. They can only make statements that is everything. They can't prove it. They can't explain it.
So
Because
how do they then, still say Jagat Karanam Brahman?
they don't say.
They don't.
Yeah, they don't say. See, because they are non-traditional teachers, asampradaya. But they are doing a good job in the sense they are creating some awareness for the whole thing. But eventually all of them will have to come to the Shastra. Muji is from the Caribbean. He is good. Nice guy. Very good. And good in the way he unfolds the self is good. People can get insights into the I very nicely. He used to bring his students for a camp in Rishikesh. Next ashram to us. Sadantarananji's ashram, he used to have the camp also. His photograph is there in that tea center of ours.
Yeah, when we were in Rishikesh last year, he was in the
Yeah.
camp next door. My friend was
Exactly.
attending that.
ये सब चैंपियन लोग तो गंगा का पानी पीना पड़ता है. They must drink this Ganga का पानी also, then will be complete. वो गंगा का पानी पिया, but that is Lakshanam for Jnana Ganga. उसका भी पानी पीना पड़ता है. Okay. Therefore, jnana ichchadi atyantam garbham sa lakshanantyam vivikshitam anyatha vyavrta visheshanapattehi. He says any one is enough to indicate. Okay. Because either you can say jnanam, ichcha or the thing. You will still, the other two will come in by using one. Atha eva janma sthiti dhvamsanam anyatamasyeva lakshane praveshaha. Similarly, he says, even using only janma, what is Brahman? Janma sthanam for the creation. If you bring in upadana karanam, one is enough. No? Sthiti bhanga is understood. Or sthiti karanam or bhanga karanam, dhvamsa karanam, anything is enough. Okay? Samani tasna. Evam cha lakshanani navam sampadyante. This is just a scholarly way of saying it. Therefore, there are 9 lakshanas. You take ichcha, jnanam, ichcha, kriya, janma, sthiti, bhanga. Permutation, combination, they got 9 definitions. You can. Reva de, it's okay. Yeah. Any one is enough, he says. Any one is enough. But for clarity's sake, it is good to use all the 3. Why? In the world you see, jnanam alone is not enough. Someone knows. The architect knows how to make the whole plan for the building. But he may not have the desire to do it. The one who owns the building has the desire. And the action, the structural engineer and contractor has to do. Therefore, jnana ichcha kriya vyapadesha. Because of that, because such examples are seen in the world, it is better to use all the 3. The Shastra knows better. It is true, once you know, any one is enough. Once you know what it is about, any one word is enough. Agreed. But until you know, it's better. For teaching's sake, it is better to use all the 3 words. Because this type of difference you will see in the creation. In the world you will see, na? Because remember, when you're talking of creator, etc., you're going by some amount of logic also. So these type of doubts will come into your mind. Ichcha belongs to the owner, jnanam belongs to the architect, action belongs to the structural engineer. Abhi kya karega? Unless you are building an ashram in Rishikesh. Jnanam, ichcha, is all between us only. Architect किधर है? आर्किटेक्ट की क्या जरूरत है? ऐसा 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 इधर बनाएगा ना इतना. हाँ, सीमेंट से वो कैलकुलेट पता लगता है ना, इतना इतना सीमेंट में बैठ जाएगा, लोड बेरिंग वॉल्स. कॉलम का भी ज़रूरत नहीं है. आई एम नॉट जोकिंग, दिस हाउ वी हैव बीन डन इन ऋषिकेश. No architect, no jnana, ichha, kriya, everything belongs to one character only. Two characters, Shuddhananda. But after that, when we want to do raise it higher, etc., we have to break down some of the things. Because we have to now raise it, columns, etc., are necessary. This is immediate. With the funds available, we are putting up one room for 25,000 rupees. The same room now will cost 5 lakhs. I mean, if you're going to do it in 25,000 rupees, you have to make it like this only, no? No architect, no this thing, no contractor also. Why? We found the labor, na? Aaya, काम है इधर. आ जाता समझ आएगा. Okay, these are all exceptions that prove the rule. Okay, exceptions that prove. Okay, Brahma Jagat Janmadi Karnat, and okay, what's your pramanam? Yata va imani bhutani jayante, yena jatani jivanti, yat preti abhisham vishanti iti, ityadi shrutir manam. Taittiriya Upanishad again. That's why Taittiriya Upanishad is a beautiful Upanishad. It gives you the Swarupa Lakshanam of Brahman, Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahman. It also gives you Tatastha Lakshanam in Bhrigu. Bhrigu vai Varuni, Bhrigu was the son of Varuna, Pitaram Upasasara, approached his father, Adi Devo Brahmeti, please teach me about Brahman. And he said, Yato va imani bhutani jayante, yena jatani jivanti, yat preti abhisham vishanti iti. That from which all these beings have come, that by which everything is sustained, that into which everything is resolved. Tad brahmeti, tapasa brahma vijijñāsasva, tapo brahmeti. By tapas may you know Brahman. Let tapas itself become Brahman for you. Let tapas be your reality now. Tapas meaning jnanamayam vichara. Contemplate on this. And he came to understand it. Therefore, this Tatastha Lakshanam available, there is Swarupa Lakshana. You know, people say, I want to know Swarupam. Tatastha, etc., I am not bothered with. Tatastha is important because without Tatastha, there is no Swarupa. That is why Vyasa, analyzing the Upanishad in this Brahma Sutras, first sutra is Athato Brahma Jijñāsa. After having gained all the qualifications, etc., and going to a teacher, we will do Jijñāsa about what is Brahman. Inquiry into the nature of Brahman. Then what is that Brahman? Janmadhyaste yataha. He doesn't say Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahman. He could have used that definition. He doesn't. He uses Tatastha Lakshanam. Because if you use Tatastha Lakshanam, by Vichara Swarupam will come in. If you use only Swarupam, Tatastha may not come in your understanding. And that is the problem. Why? Because Swarupa. What about the world? The world will stand against your understanding. So if your understanding will never be complete unless you can explain away the world. Therefore, Tatastha Lakshanam becomes important. Tatastha Lakshanam becomes important. Okay? Therefore, Tatastha Lakshani, Manam Pramanamtvam. Okay. Then he goes into showing everything is nothing but Brahman. But that we will see next class, 12:05. Good time to stop. Okay. So take care. Om Tat Sat.